that you put out there and people pay a subscription fee and use it somehow, right? The other is you work with clients, you build AI for them, and they pay you to use that. And those sometimes can have an overlap with them, or you're using AI to make either your business better or it's creating a business for you, essentially. Do you feel like one of those three is more what you're looking for?
Yeah, maybe the one where it like creates a business for me is one.
Right.
And another one is where I'm doing some AI stuff for somebody else and helping them in their business with AI, because I've got quite a technical background. You froze now, Jeff, or is it my thing that froze?
You froze.
I froze. There you go.
What did you, so the one where it makes a business for you. If you don't mind me asking, what type of business are you in now, or what I guess are like some of your skill sets?
Yeah, so I've been a programmer since a long time. Started with like C and C++, and then into Java, and then like Python and various things. And then I've been kind of looking over teams of programmers as well, and like as a Scrum Master and Agile coach and stuff like that. And I think the programming world has changed quite a bit now. There's a whole lot of changes, especially in the past year or so. But I've been kind of staying up to date with AI. So yeah, also I think while I froze there, what I was saying was either create a business for me or else help other people in their businesses. So using AI to help other people with their businesses in some way, and they maybe pay me to use AI to do something for them. Either that or else I create a business for me. They were like the two options of what you were suggesting.
Okay. Yeah. There is a lot going on now. We talk about vibe coding, or I talk about vibe coding a lot in here. I do think that it's interesting because like when you hear people respond or put in their views on vibe coding, I think that like aspects of it are reductive, I would say. So part of it is, they're basing it on sometimes people who have never coded before and are using AI to help them, right? Which gives you one type of output or level of code, as well as people who have never architected a project before, right? And then the other is some of this is based on earlier AI models and people vibe coding with that. Where these days, Sonnet 4.5 is pretty good at if you know how to prompt it. It can do a lot for you. And again, though, it's not going to make sort of higher level decision making. But if you're there and you know how to do that, then that's good. And I do think that, but also, if you are a programmer and you are knowledgeable, and again, like things like vibe coding, the concept of how people code and who can code these days is going to totally shift. And so there are things that you could do around content generation for that. And using AI to help you with content generation, either for blog posts, newsletters, using HeyGen to create video content and things like that. And potentially, even if you do have another idea that's sort of the core of your business, these tools can help you promote whatever that business is.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, yeah, that sounds, that's great. So it is somehow I think I need to get a bit of a direction and then go there and then start doing stuff and then see what happens.
Cool. Yeah. And I think that, the good thing about the coaching calls and the community is that, you have me, you have Vic, you have Julian, but then also the people in the community, I think, are useful resources because like I am one person. I know the AI that I know. I know the tools that I know, but then like within the community, there's all kinds of suggestions and new tools, and it is very overwhelming to keep up with them all. But, part of the problem with AI is all the hype, right? And it's just like, oh yeah, use this and it's going to, 10x your business, or do this and everything's going to be great. But getting recommendations from people within the community, they're like, yeah, here, watch, I already use this, it actually works for me, I feel like does carry more weight. And I bring up this topic or this example because some of the people on the call were here when it happened. When people were suggesting to me to use Gamma, so Gamma.ai, so I was using GenSpark to generate PowerPoint presentations. They're like, no, here, try out Gamma. And I did, and Gamma is really useful. And it's like, yeah, for $9 a month, I would definitely, do this. But that's something where it's like, my bandwidth is only so wide, but having real people, give you real recommendations on what to use can be invaluable, I think. Cool. Well, great to have you here, Gregory. Jason, are you new? Hi. No, but I feel like maybe your icon is, I don't know if I remember the electric icon, but maybe. I couldn't tell. I was like, yeah. But then I'm going to butcher your name. Manuel, are you new?
Yeah, starting today, man.
Starting today. Okay, what brings you to the AI Profit Boardroom into the coaching calls?
So I just want to understand right now for this call, it's like, what's the best use of the school platform, the coaching calls? I kind of got of it based on your recommendation to Gregory just now. I am the CFO of an oil and gas company, but we need to streamline a lot of businesses. We've been consultants all our life, and now we're shifting into being an operator. And there is, as consultants, we and engineers, nerdy engineers, we want to streamline a lot of things. And there's a lot of things that we're doing still manually on one front. So in that regard, it's mostly automation, less so AI, I think. But I'm here to learn, like, what's the realm of possibilities. I've been following Mr. Goldie on Twitter, and I'm like, this NA or NA8 whatever, and it seems fascinating. I just don't have a lot of time, so I'm actually considering the done for you type of things, but we'll get there in due time. I've already reached out to the man himself and gave him what I'm looking for. In parallel to that, my wife wants to launch a business, and I'm like, don't launch without learning what we can automate from a content creation, like you were telling Gregory, streamlining marketing and all those things, right? So I'm going to be drinking from a fire hose and just need help executing, because I'm not just here to learn, but actually put things to work.
Yeah. Okay, great. You brought up this concept, like, what are the coaching calls for? What are the purpose for them? In general, the coaching calls have sort of, I don't know, like a theme or a purpose every time, right? So on Mondays, we do Q&A, where you can come in with your questions. And really, the beginning of every coaching call is sort of Q&A, right? I do go around and ask people why they're here, but like at any point in time, if people have questions, they can ask me. I am somewhat limited in my ability to answer every question in the entire world. So that is, but actually, I will drop my email address into the chat. I think there's definitely a way. I know that people send me messages through school. And so there's a way to message me there. But if you have a more complex question or something that's a little bit more specific, send it to me beforehand, especially if you're going to be in the coaching call, and I will try to get you an answer. Again, because sometimes people will ask me about like a specific N8N template that's on the website. And it's like, I don't know. Like, I mean, there's like 50 of them. I don't have them all memorized. But sometimes I also need to have N8N templates for us to work on ready to go. So possibly I'll choose that one so we can walk through it, so everyone can see it being done in real time. And so Mondays are Q&A. Tuesday is a Dr. Jeff special, where I basically get to present any idea that I think is cool or that is useful to people. Today is N8N Day, where we do go over N8N workflows. And then Friday is more theoretical lecture content. The last two I've done, one was on prompting and good prompting techniques. And then the last week's one was on vibe coding and vibe coding principles and techniques. Especially I think that one is useful for people who have never coded before and are getting into vibe coding, because if you just kind of walk into it and you've never coded before, you don't know what you don't know. And part of my lesson for that was, and this is actually one of my big sort of, advice to everybody, is ask these LLMs how to do everything. Like, as you're going, if you ever have a question, ask ChatGPT, ask Claude. Claude's my favorite. Claude's my buddy, especially for technical stuff. Or Gemini, for some of the newer things, Gemini sometimes is better just because it's connected to Google, and it can get you more up-to-date information. But, again, like something like vibe coding, Python best practices and coding best practices, it will tell you what to do and it will help you out with it. And then you'll see today, as we're going through our N8N exercise, I am going to use these different AI helpers, including Claude, to get us through aspects of it. But again, yes, for part of the coaching calls, although I do have an agenda, I guess, for these calls, it can always get hijacked by all of you. If you have questions and you want something specific, then let me know. And then Scott's got his hand up, and he is obviously in some sort of laboratory right now.
I thought I was a nerd, and then Scott shows up, man. I love it.
I was gonna say, for the coding stuff, man, I've always like hunt and pecked code and never wrote code. But recently, I finally had a good idea, and so I was trying to do it with all the different, like Grok's, ChatGPT, Gemini, and then it wasn't understanding comprehension of like multiple files. So I found this app called Cursor, where it has the AI like built right into it, and it's been absolutely stellar.
Really? Okay. So the way I do it is, so I use Claude for coding, anything technical. Once it's like there's numbers and logic involved, I go to Claude. I think that it's the best. I know people use Cursor. Maybe I should take it for a test drive, because like I've been pretty happy with Sonnet 4.5 lately, and then it is able to handle a larger sort of project. And then what I also do is I'll create a project in there, and then as the core files are being developed, I'll upload those files into the project so it knows what those files are and can base its, the other files that it's creating off of those core files. But I should probably give Cursor a spin.
Well, my project kind of started getting complicated, man. And then like I am running into a little bit of it loses contextual comprehension because the files are too big. So then I have to like push it to do that. But right now I think it is running off E5 or something, but there was a couple other options. But essentially it was far better than just trying to like, because then it expanded into multiple files, and then it was like way easier for it's built for a coding project tool to comprehend all the other files, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe try out Cursor at some point. Maybe I'll do that. That could also be a Dr. Jeff special Tuesday where, hey, let's take Cursor for a spin and maybe evaluate it, like why we would want to use that over one of these LLM platforms. But if you are able to choose, if you're saying you're able to choose which model to use, I would give Sonnet 4.5 a spin if that's one of your options in there. If you can do GPT-5, if it's allowing you to choose of the major LLMs, see if it'll let you do Sonnet 4.5. I've been loving it lately.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't messed with Claude too much. That is on my radar. And then Perplexity has been kind of coming up lately too.
So what I have found is that really these different AI models you should use depending on your use case. I think GPT-5 is probably the best. Like, I don't even know if it's the best at anything anymore, as much as it's just like comfortable and useful. Claude, I feel like, is the best when you have logic, when you are doing something that takes like something technical. Perplexity is when you want true facts, when you want something
interesting.
Because Perplexity was the first one to be able to use information from the internet. They were the first ones to connect it to the internet and allow it to do that. And when I first was using LLMs, that's the reason why you would use Perplexity, was because if you typed things into ChatGPT back then, I don't know how many of you remember using this, it would tell you, no, I can't give you an answer for that. Like that
I
happened.
Can't connect to the internet.
Well, no, yeah, it'd be like that happened earlier this year. My training only goes up until 2022 or whatever it was. And then they did what Perplexity is doing. But Perplexity, I think because they've been on that longer and that's what their thing is, they're better at having real citations, real information, verifying that their information is real when it takes it from the internet. And then Gemini, theoretically, if you're using it for, well, one of the things is that it has a gigantic context window. I don't know if everybody else is caught up to that for the APIs. It's cool because, you use Gemini within the Google platform, right? So it's using Gemini when you're doing Google searches now. So some of us are using Gemini. And then Grok is good if you want social media information, right? Because it's connected to X. And so it's like, that's good for very, very up-to-date information, right? Like what's going on instantly. And then if you want Elon Musk's perspective on things, right?
So
throw that in there.
So come to find out, man, it actually uses all of them.
Yeah.
I already had them turned on.
Yeah.
So it's using Claude 4.5 Sonnet,
Yeah.
GPT-5 Codex, GPT-5 regular, Claude 4.5 Haiku, Grok Code Fast 1.
It uses them
It has like a whole bunch you can flip on too, like more like subsets of the models.
I'm gonna try. Maybe I need to take cursor for a spin and report back next week. That's interesting. Okay.
I thought it was a duh because I was like, oh, this is designed for coding. This has got to be better than me. Like, okay, now, dude, get into coding mode and like, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And then you can set a home directory so it knows where all the files are, and then it can scan through and read all the files, blah, blah, blah. It's like designed for if you're trying to actually do some code shit.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's doing what I do manually myself. As we get further and further into, the world, doing things by yourself instead of just having AI do it is going to be just stupider and stupider. The longer we go down this path.
It's bad, dude. It's just like when search first came out, it's like I don't even think about responses to clients anymore. So what I'm doing with the tool, man, is developed an entire app that takes away a 2 to 3 hour process of tuning up a computer with software, and it puts it into a streamlined system, and then also pops out a back-end report of technicals, which then I hooked in OpenAI's fine-tuning model and fine-tuned that, and then it dumps the back-end report so that it spits out an email and a text message exactly how I speak, with all of the technical variables of what happened with the computer and blah, blah, blah. And then it just spits it all out, dude. And then it's all uploaded to a Forgegio server. So it's like my own hosted GitHub. So it's not even on public GitHub.
Yeah. So does the LLM also say blah, blah, blah as often as you do? Did you fine tune it to that?
It does say thingy a lot because that's usually what I use because people just don't understand technical terms. So it's like, this thing was wrong.
All right, so thing and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to butcher your name twice. Is it Manuel or Manuel?
I don't care, bro. Manuel,
Well,
man.
you don't care, but there is a right answer, right? It's probably
Well,
neither.
in Spanish, right? It depends how if it's in Spanish, it's Manuel, right?
Well, yeah. Okay, I can't pronounce it as good as you can. Okay, what's your question?
So it's more of an admin question. So
Yeah.
I recently signed up. I got both AI Money Lab. I think that's you guys too, right? And AI Profit Boardroom. Is that correct?
So AI Profit Boardroom is for sure us. Money Lab, I think, we're connected, like it's within our ecosystem, but I don't know exactly how it is tied together. But I know that I'm like the worst person to ask admin questions for. Vic is the best person to ask admin questions to, and there are definitely people to reach out to. But like I know that we're connected to AI Money Lab, and I don't think it's a bad thing that you've signed up for it. But I don't know exactly how.
Yeah, it's Julian. Julian,
right?
It's welcoming both, but I signed up for a yearly thing, but I don't know if I did it there or here and which one.
Yes,
Yeah.
and subscriptions I'm the worst at. Gregory might have the answer though.
Yeah. The Money Lab is like the free version, and then the Profit Boardroom is the paid for version.
Okay, so if I paid for something, I probably paid for AI Profit Boardroom.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gregory. Josue, you new to the AI Profit Boardroom into coaching calls. You don't have to turn on your mic if you don't want to. You can go in the chats or you can just ignore it. Yes. Okay. If you want, type in the chat if you have time. What brings you to the AI Profit Boardroom and what brings you to AI automation into these coaching calls? And then let me see. Scott? Oh, that's you. You're Scott. I was going to say.
Yeah, I was just popping in here to kind of see what's going on and stuff like that, man. I've been following Julian, yada, yada, blah, 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 haha. And I was looking to get some better streamlined systems, clearly utilizing AI for delivering SEO and marketing systems. I got a couple small businesses. I do a whole, white label GHL, blah, blah, blah. Been doing websites and tech shit for like over 20 years.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we'll see if Josue wants to let me know. If there's anybody else who's new and wants to say hello and tell me what you're looking for. And then if anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer them right now. Nobody actually has to raise their hand, even though Gregory and Scott have been doing it. You can just, and then Manuel's been doing it also. You can just interrupt me, just be like, Dr. Jeff, or just don't call me Mr. Werfel. That's the one I hate the most. What's up, Gregory?
Yeah, I was just to say I had a little adventure with N8N because I was just reading about it and saw it was really good to have it running all the time. And I was looking, okay, can I run it on some computer all the time or something? So I was thinking, will I get a Raspberry Pi or something to run it on? And then I looked around, I was like using the various perplexity to find out, what was the best hardware to run it on. And then actually it seemed like a Mac 4 Mini was the best one to run it on price-wise, because it's really powerful and relatively cheap. So I bought a little Mac 4 Mini to run my N8N on. So I'll have it running all the time, and it's only using like 3 watts of power. So it's really efficient and really powerful when it's in use. So that's my little N8N server is a Mac 4 Mini.
Awesome. I am not a Mac person, so this is definitely information that I would never have been able to provide people. Mac 4 Mini, that's cool. Yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense. Even though I'm not a Mac person, I don't know, the dark side has been calling to me a little bit more lately. I've been seeing, I had to work off of a Mac for a project, and I mean, just getting used to the differences between, Mac and Windows was annoying, but then, the performance was pretty good. I couldn't, yeah.
Yeah, it's very good performance. And I set up like a Docker container system there. So it's N8N running in Docker. So it's pretty easy. If I scale up in some reason, I need to run it somewhere else, I can easily move all the instances out to the cloud somewhere if it's too much for my little Mac M4 Mini to run.
Yeah, that's way cool, man. That's like the way to go.
Yeah, awesome. Very cool. And then Josue, SEO and how to handle a website with AI, like adding new blogs and new pages, both my own design, not a WordPress template. So for that reason, I'm not using WordPress. Any ideas? Thanks. Yes, absolutely. I'll be a broken record again, because I'm always just like a totally broken record. I would just go, to start, like if you needed to automate it, that's another thing. You could set up an automation in N8N. But if you just wanted, to start going quickly, I would use, you could probably just do it all through ChatGPT if you wanted to, or do it all through Claude if you wanted to. Because I have subscriptions to both, what I would do is ask GPT to write the blog content for me and tell it to use SEO best practices, possibly give it some of the keywords that you're looking for SEO. Then once you have that blog, if you already have a web page from your website, right, like that has all of the information in it, like what your your CSS is going to be a separate file, but it's already got like your header and your footer and all your design choices and all this. You can just give that file to Claude Sonnet 4.5 and say, here's my blog article, put this blog article into this web page. Round trip, this might take you like a few minutes, and then boom, you have a web page, a new web page on your website. You are going to probably need to have a way to link to that web page, and so then you'd also want like maybe a blog sort of menu web page or something like that, and then you'll be able to go. But then Jason Roper just threw this thing in here for Neil Patel. Let's grow your revenue through digital market, global ad agency. This guy.
Neil's the guru with SEO, GEO, AEO. So he's the go-to guy.
Okay.
So yeah, start there. Go to his channels. He gets commission to assist the likes of Google and so on with their strategies and so on SEO and AEO. So he really is the go-to guy. So start there.
Good. Start there. And then also, Jason's bringing up a good topic, which is, so these days you need to not just be SEO, you need to be AIO, whatever. I don't know if they've settled on the, I've seen it different ways. I think I've seen AEO, which doesn't actually, people say
AEO, yeah.
AEO.
Because
it's like answer engine optimization, I believe.
The one is answer engine automation, and the other one's Gentic engine optimization. So excuse the running over my tongue. The difference, they mean the same thing. They can't really settle down on which one they want to use. But I would say we're going to eventually end up with AEO, because that's really what it is: answer engine optimization. And just as a heads up, because I'm doing a lot of work on this, AEO basically means how does a person ask a question, and in let's say ChatGPT, and make sure your website is answering this question the same way that they're answering. So that's really all it is. So instead of keywords, like we used to have SEO for, it was a keyword. So it's, I don't know, finance. Now it's how do I finance my retirement? So you must now have a web page called How to Finance My Retirement, and a whole blog around answering that question. Then you start literally becoming AEO compliant in terms of your websites. So that's really, to simplify it, that's the easiest way to understand it.
Yep. And so, yeah, like these days, you know, as the world updates, we can't just stay with SEO. Now it's AEO. I was trying to push AIO just because it's, you know, artificial intelligence optimization, but I think that the world wanted AEO instead. I don't know. Is there an engine involved? I'm not so sure, but you know, I'll let them. I mean, I guess LL is probably not going to work either. So it's probably whatever anybody wants to say. But the general concept is, you know, if you look at it, we are shifting from doing our searches on Google to doing our searches through ChatGPT, right? I think that at one point in time, Google probably had what, 90% search share or something like that. And it's still the dominant search platform for information on the internet, but ChatGPT is chipping away at that, and it's chipping away at it more and more and more. And the same thing with Perplexity, right? And Claude. And so, you know, that is definitely something that a lot of people aren't thinking about. You'll hear people on this coaching call talking about it, but we look at it, what percentage of the population actually knows that they're doing AEO? I don't know, 1%, 2%, right? And so it's a place where you can possibly get a leg up, right? Where trying to do SEO right now, that's a very clogged and cluttered space, and it just takes a lot of work. But possibly you could leverage AEO fairly quickly. But then also, if you have a product that you're selling, ChatGPT now has in-app purchasing or whatever, where you can purchase products directly from ChatGPT for your website, or essentially it will put ads for your products in ChatGPT. I don't know if you can buy things like one click exactly yet, but for sure.
Not yet. But that's what they're saying it's going to happen, Jeff. They're suggesting that you're gonna start buying that in just to monetize it more. I don't know if it's really going to go through, because I think there's going to be a lot of pushback, because the whole idea of AI and LLMs is that we get answers to questions, not necessarily more advertising. So the last thing you want to do is type in there, I want to bake a cake, and next minute you got all this advertising down the right-hand side. So I'm not sure where we're going to go down that road.
Well, but if they made ChatGPT free, right? So like if you look at freemium models, or like how, so I do Duolingo right now, right? I'm trying to learn Spanish. I live in Southern California. There's a version where I could pay Duolingo, you know, I think whatever, $1 a month, or I have to watch ads every time I do something, right? And so are they going to open this up where it's like, yeah, you'll get, and it's the same thing with Google, right? Google is a free, quote unquote, service. They make money somehow. You know, same thing with YouTube. YouTube is free, but they're making money somehow. And I've also brought this up, you know, that I think that AI, they are figuring out all of these business models now, right? It's brand new. It's absolutely, totally brand new, but not so brand new that they haven't started to have these conversations. And they are going to need these different revenue streams, because possibly soon they're going to have to figure out a way to pay royalties to everybody that they're training their data on, or that they're presenting information from, right? So this is going to become monetized. And really, ChatGPT is the one that pushed this idea of monetization of AI. If you look, like originally, OpenAI was a nonprofit organization, right? And then they decided that they wanted to do it for profit. And AI, in general, until ChatGPT, in a lot of ways, was an open source, not-for-profit concept. If you go to Hugging Face, I always talk about Hugging Face. Every AI model that you would possibly need to build your dream AI application, for the most part, is on Hugging Face for free. In general, this was an open source, community-driven. AI was not something that you paid for. You really have to pay for the servers, which is essentially what ChatGPT is theoretically charging you for. ChatGPT figured out, they switched over to this monetization system, and they are probably going to be the forefront in how to turn this into an AI-based economy, with charging people for the information that is in there, and then giving money to the people who provided that information and products and all that stuff. And so we, I think, have already crossed the line between, AI being just for knowledge and then AI being a capitalistic endeavor, because it's going to be there by next year, if not, at the end of this year, probably.
And PayPal just announced a new deal with OpenAI. They just announced it a couple of days ago, where they will provide payments within the ChatGPT system.
Right. So then, it's interesting. I feel like this week, maybe it's just my news stream. I will do a little bit of NAN today at some point, but I did want to hit this topic. I feel like this week I'm seeing even more of this idea. Oh, it's because of Amazon, right? Because Amazon, and then who else? Amazon fired a bunch of people, but I think maybe it was somebody else did as well. I think part of the problem is that it is Amazon, and Bezos is one of the richest people in the world. And this idea that, he's firing all these people, all these wonderful people are losing their jobs, and they're being replaced with AI, right? And look at how terrible that is. And I do think the optics are probably tough, that they should think about maybe expressing these concepts in a different way. But people are going to even more and more push back against AI, right? Why should we have AI? AI is replacing people. It's replacing people's jobs. When I think what people should do is be on these coaching calls, right? Or you don't have to be on our coaching calls. You don't have to join AI Profit Boardroom. You should be doing this, right? Where it's like, AI is not going to replace you. Somebody who's using AI is going to replace you, right? And so it's like, you should be using AI. I think the people that are, pushing against AI, you're not going to win. Like, it's not going to happen. The idea that everyone, because it's also way more ingrained in our system than everybody realizes, right? They've been using AI for like over a decade, in Google Maps and any of these other platforms. And so you have been using AI, and you didn't really mind when the map making, companies went out of business, because, now we're all just using Google Maps. So this same thing is going to keep happening, but I highly suggest you either go to these coaching calls, go on AI Profit Boardroom, find all of the other resources you can, and embrace AI and the ways that it can help you make your systems better and faster, instead of just complaining about it. And, again, I think that the optics could be better and it could be handled better, but AI is going to change the world. And you should probably change along with it. I don't think that fighting it is going to be a good idea.
That's the tough one about the conversation, right?
Oh, wow, everybody. What's up?
Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, thanks, Phil. Okay, so just the other companies that were letting people go, it was Accenture. They let 11,000 go.
Wow.
And Microsoft letting 9,000 go this year. And also Telefonica let 7,000 people go as well.
Wow.
A lot happening.
Is this call recorded? I think all the calls are recorded. Yes, all the calls are recorded, and then they go into the classroom section. And then Scott, what were you saying? And then I'm going to get to some NA.
I was just going to say, like, that's the tough part about it, man. Because when the first layer of robot arms came out, everybody said learn to code and was very uncompassionate. Yeah. And then now that AI is coming out, I always say it's like, it sucks, and it's one of those tough conversations, but it's a pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and you just got to upskill, because what it does now is it's going to eat away the arts, kind of department, like the easy, simple. So I'm doing copy generation and all of this content creation on a simple low scale, or design and shit like that. That's just going to eat out all the low level stuff. And I was actually one of those people, because now you can make a basic, simple website, or like, I've been through this like for years, right? Like Facebook came out, and hot damn, if nobody was going to spend $1 on a website. But things change, and you got to upscale. So now it's not, I just make a nice, pretty website. It's, there's an entire digital sales system attached, blah, 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 the automations and yada, yada.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. So for the very last portion of the coaching call, I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping on Tuesday's call, and then we're going to we're going to do a little bit of N8N. And that's just going to do, again, like a little bit of housekeeping on last week's N8N and see if we can add another additional feature to it. So let me get everything more or less set up. Okay. Okay. So then for people who weren't here on Tuesday, I was doing a little bit of a vibe coding project. We ran into a snag, as always happens, but I did clean up where we left off just so that we could move forward. And I just wanted to kind of, I'm only going to take a few minutes on this just so that everyone sees that we're moving along. But essentially, we had this idea where, I was not, for whatever reason, was having an issue with the voice ID from 11 Labs, where it was telling me that the voice ID was wrong. The voice ID was right. It did provide this diagnose voice ID script. I ran that. I threw whatever I got back into the LLM. It took it was able to use that diagnosis to figure out what was going wrong. And then it updated. I was like, it's like, oh, you should do all these things to update the code for you. And it's like, or no, you should do all this stuff to update the code. And I'm like, that's what I have you for. You're going to update it for me, right? And so then update the files for me. And then it started updating the files, which is great. And then it created, first I wanted to create a helper script to replace everything. Like it'll do this sometimes. I don't like it when it does that. I feel like it's not really saving me all that much time. And so I told it, just don't do the helper script. Just actually update these files for me. And so then it updated the 2 files for me. And boom, it worked. Essentially, it did have a little bit of a snag where the SSML was not work. It was formatted a little bit wrong. And then just to give everybody an update or an overview of what this was, is that this is basically just a simple system to start with, where we have a pipeline. It does script generation, and then we have this SSML processor, which essentially adds SSML to our script. If you're not familiar, this is speech synthesis markdown language. It makes it so that your AI-generated voices sound a little bit more realistic by putting in pausing, spelling out words phonetically, and then emphasizing certain words. So you could think if you were able to add this appropriately, then you would get better speech synthesis. And boom. So then I ran it recently and was able to get audio files. Let me see. I don't know if I can even play them. Let's play it for me. Oh, it will.
Hello, this is a test of basic voice synthesis without any SSML enhancements.
Right. And then
welcome back. Today's topic is absolutely critical. We'll explore AI ethics, machine learning, and the future of technology.
So as you can tell, there is pausing in there, right? Like she is pausing at specific ways. I do think that it is helping it sound a little bit more realistic. And so we're going to continue with this next Tuesday. Trying to think of, I don't even know if there's too much more to continue with it. I might just finish this off and kind of do some closing statements on that. But as you can see, I think the last thing I want to do, I forgot what we will do on Tuesday, is now we have something that will generate voice for us. I'm going to do something where we can speak to it and it'll speak back to us, and we'll see about having it do SSML. The one thing I worry about is that it might have a pretty decent lag in there by having all this processing going. We'll see what we can do about that. But yeah, I got this to work. It was not that big of a deal. As I said, the first time, so it was able to update things, and I was able to run a test. It was not perfect. It did have an issue with the SSML formatting. And so then I had it fix those, and boom, boom, boom. Now we're here, and it is providing good SSML voice synthesized files, which is cool. All right, and then let's get over to our N8N workflow. So last time we were here, so this is the beginning of a prompt system that is able to generate prompts for ideas and then create images for it. We were having a problem last time. So one of the problems, if you do use Fall AI, so Fall AI is pretty cool. They have a bunch of AI models on there, both image and video generation models, which we're going to leverage. The problem that I run into with it is that, or I ran into this twice, when you are doing API keys for fall, you have to do uppercase K, E-Y. So you have to put in K, or no, key, right, with an uppercase K, then a space, and then your API key. If you don't do that, it's not going to work, right? And so that is the problem we were running into. And then I was having another little issue with it was generating the same images over and over and over again. And part of that was, and I don't know why it's doing this, but when I am using the prompt to workflow feature, it likes to put in this thing in here first, right? So if you are seeing that type of issue where, and you'll be able to see it in some of this stuff where you'll be like, it's putting in first instead of item. And what was happening was it was just generating 4 of the same basic concept, right? Which is not what I want. I don't want 4 of the same basic concept. I want 4 different concepts. And so if you see, I have these 4 concepts: sneaker, sports drinks, dog, 2 people talking, right? And but it was just doing sneaker. It was giving me 4 sneakers instead, right? But now instead I have it switched to using item, right? So the 2 major changes I made last time was in this part where there's the header auth account. When you go in here, boom, if I click on, oh no, if I need to click on this guy, this, instead of just having the API key, now says key space, then my API key. And then as well, I switched this guy here, instead of having it say first, it now says item, which is much better. And so then it is grabbing the items as it goes through it. And then we are getting these image URLs, right? And so boom, it is generating images for us. So for instance, Google has a thing. Specified object does not exist. Wonderful. That might be because it has the, it's not going to like that at the end. Let's see, what about this? Boom, sneaker, right? Super cool. And then now if I go down to this one that has the futuristic sports drink, cool. I like Flux. I think it's a pretty good image generator. Again, like, if you really want to get into this, and it's not, if you're doing N8N, N8N is not great for what I'm about to describe. You can do it, but it's just more difficult. I would say if you're doing this type of thing with N8N, Lux is through fall, something like that is probably going to be one of your best bets. I love to use Stable Diffusion and use the image models that are available through Civit AI. That's civit.ai. Running that through N8N is not simple. Whereas running Fall AI through N8N also somewhat challenging, right? Especially even if you have it build it for you, you're going to run into issues. But it is way simpler to do that. Is to just do Fall AI, use Flux. And then again, as I said, when you sign up, you get $10 of free credits, so you can test this bad boy out. And then one thing I'm going to do right now is, wait, did you do it? I did end up doing it. Great, cool. All right. That's just, I was having a bunch of trouble with the sheet output, and I have no idea. I wonder if it has trouble updating the sheets in real time or whatever, because it was not doing this for me for the longest. And then all of a sudden I click on the sheet and everything is filled out here properly, which is just technology, man. So yeah, I could just instead click on these. And then where is this going to show me? That's the dog. Pretty good dog, huh? And then last but not least, 2 people talking. Is that what we're going to get? Not bad. Right? I think like it's a pretty good looking image. I think that if you're gonna, go somewhere from this, that'd be pretty cool. All right, and so then theoretically the next step that we want to do, and which I will probably not get to finish with, is and we are going to so this has the extract final, so final output. I just want to include this output JSON table here. Let me just grab this. Okay, and then okay. All right, so now that's generating images with fall, and I have a node end that generates this import used down the road. I would like to extend this automation to generate videos with fall.ai using the input images, or using the generated images and the video. All right, so then this guy is going to generate a prompt for me. Okay, extend workflow to generate video using fall AI video VO3. Continue from previous workflow, use H2. The one thing is we will find out, is this wait node going to be good enough? Before I run this, I'm probably going to add extra time to this wait node, although that might make it so this takes a little bit longer. Let's see though. All right. Then another thing I have been playing with a little bit more is, so you have the innate AI, right? So there's build and then there's ask. Ask does not take up any tokens. And so what I've been doing is building and then using ask to take it as far as I can possibly go. Build is my last resort, unless I'm in a situation like this where I wanted to add a totally new aspect of it. So here, let's give it this and see what we get. Boom, boom, boom. So it is going to, great. And then so just to give you a little, oh, to check it for ready. Okay, that's cool. You know, behind the scenes, this is going to be a little bit more complex, just because like with video generation, you don't, it takes longer to do video generation. So if you look here, the generate image node is going to generate an image and then like instantaneously have that image ready to go, which is another cool thing about using fall. But when we do whatchamacallit, when we do video generation takes a little bit of time, which is probably going to, even if this worked perfectly, it might take too long for us to get it. And then, ooh, I like that it's going to check if video ready. That's pretty good. Okay, so I'm wondering, should this not be connected? I guess maybe it doesn't have to be. We'll see. I feel like it should be. That's kind of weird. Let me see, does this guy actually, well, it already has all these things. All right. All right, so what's it telling me I need to do? Credentials for header, author not set, poll video status credentials for header, author not set. Okay, so this should be using the same one I used before. Video prompt, image URL. Okay, all that information looks good. I like that. And then this should just use what I had before. Okay, that should be cool. And the polling is the same thing. It's using what I want. Okay, one thing I want to do is, just for testing, I am going to reduce this down in number, because if I'm doing this wrong, it might just eat up all my credits. If I can, I'll actually see. Can we just leave this at 1? Sometimes it has, I don't know, problems with that. So here, let me execute this workflow. I just want to see how this goes. And then I'm almost certain, I don't know why it didn't connect it all together. It's sort of weird, but I will see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it should just all be connected.
Maybe you can just drag over that little plus that's on the right. Over.
Yeah, that is definitely what I'm going to do. I'm just like surprised that it, like, why didn't it just do it? But yes, that is the solution, is to connect it myself. Okay, and then at least I did get to test it out. It did work on one and it generated. So we're just going to stick with the sneaker and see if that will go. All right. And then, yeah, let's see what happens. All right, execute workflow. We should see. Yep. All right. Now what's the problem? VO3 not found. Yeah, I figured. Oh, the prompt title. Okay, yeah. Let me see. So let's go to fall and see what's there and what I should be using. Fall AI VO3 API, calling the API, API, call AI VO3. And then what is it saying? That's fascinating. Hold on. Ah, you jerks. 4S, 6S, 8S. Let's see. think it's this before us. That went terribly.
It's missing the opening quote before the 4.
Thank you. You're absolutely right. As soon as you said it. All right. And then execute step. Ooh. I like this. Okay. Well, this is better than it crashing. I love that. But as you can see, right, it'll set up all this stuff for you, which is cool, but not perfect ever. And it's interesting how it gets some of this stuff wrong, right? We'll put that dash in there for VO3, but easy check, right? Just go to the source. Sometimes you have to put a little work in here. I know. I wish it was perfect, but it's not. And as I said, for whatever reason, because it's not really part of the fall documentation, and in that way, sometimes it is good to be able to lean on. They're not going to show me all the way. Let's see. There's this build again. No, so I think this is built. Yeah. So now I'm on the ask. Ask can help out and really help with your N8N based questions. All right, and then here is my URL. Let's see what it looks like. So it should be based on the image. Here, let's see what our image looks like. Pretty cool. All right, and then how ugly is this video gonna be? Probably pretty ugly. Okay, so obviously it did not use my source image. So let me take a look at what is going on in here, because it does get the image URL, but it may not be doing anything with it at all, right? It's probably just passing that image URL. I can totally imagine I need a step where I'm actually grabbing that image and then using that and sending it appropriately. Let me take a look also at this. Calling API, set up your API key, submit a request. Oh, okay. You can also pass. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. So I could just submit the URL. So that should work. Okay. So then that is not so it's not the problem that it's passing a URL. That's not an issue. Hosted file URL. Okay. Right. So that's not great. Okay. Well, at least, right, we figured that part out. But it is for sure not using that image to generate anything. Let me take another look, and then we're gonna, we'll finish this up again next time. But we're making progress every time we're in here. So it has the image prompt. It has the video prompt. Begin with a slow overhead drone shot approaching the high. Oh, okay. So this is where our issue is, right? This video prompt has nothing to do with our image prompt. Big problem. But it still should be based on this image. So I think we have two separate issues that we will diagnose next time around. I will probably have an update for that and then show you guys that update. But yes, the fact that our video prompts are totally different from what our image prompt is. And then I don't think in any way, shape, or form it is using this image URL. So I have to see about the way it's being passed. But that was our coaching call for today. Tomorrow, again, we will do, I got to figure out what our PowerPoint presentation is for tomorrow. But it'll be a little bit more theoretical. Thank you, everybody. Oh, what is this? Oh, okay. I like that. So I will try that in the future, VO3 fast, especially for something like this, just so I'm not burning as many tokens. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have fun with AI and automation. I will see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat place. Have a amazing one. Okay. See, this is really why I have the community here, is so that you guys can fix all my issues for me. I figured image to video makes, which is why. So because we're not using the image to video and it is just using a video generator, it is not doing it right. Okay. I'll see everyone tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.